Bring it on. Want some, get some.
Yes, I am a pirate.
You have to go with the pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're pirates.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I don't think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
We will get them on. I can promise you that.
Red and purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome in to Thanksgiving Eve. That's right, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. We have a lot to be thankful for. What a great day to be a Pirate. Of course, that's every day. Is Blake Harrell was named the 23rd head coach today, and we'll be talking about that. Plus, we have our Pirate preview on Navy. Let's bring in Kyle from the Grange Barber. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Dave? Yes, Thanksgiving Eve. Don't forget to leave corn and what do turkeys eat? Don't forget to leave turkey seed. I don't know. It's Thanksgiving Eve. What's going on, guys? Blake Harrell, the new head coach of East Carolina. Glad it happened. It's official now. Next step is we got to make sure we get Blake, not Blake Harrell, but John David Baker locked in, and he's going to stay with Blake at least for 1 year.
No doubt we've got multiple Matts on the screen. And hey, Bubba Rosenbaum, how are you, man?
Give me a hell yeah.
We'll give you a hell yeah. Heck yeah.
Doing well. So much excitement. You know, I saw it on Team Boneyard's X account. You know, following the news on Monday, that next 24 hours, I think it was 83 new donors.
That's correct, Bubba.
Very remarkable there. And I think, you know, you're probably somewhere in the 300s as far as our donors, you know, prior to that. So just to put that into perspective. But, yeah, I'm just very excited for Friday and the future of East Carolina football.
And let's bring in former linebacker under Coach Steve Logan. And he played football in the 90s, one of the best decades ever for Pirate football, I might add. Let's bring in Matt Semenza. Matt, welcome in, and happy Thanksgiving. We'll promise we won't go too long tonight, so Chrissy won't divorce you. Be ready for.
I appreciate that.
And we love your family, so we love Chrissy and the kids. So we're gonna make sure that that you stay married and the family's intact. How's everything going, man? In the great state of Connecticut.
Dave, I appreciate you looking out. And, you know, guys, I said this the other night on the show, but what a crazy turn of events. You know, you think back to where we were 5 weeks ago as a program, you know, getting blown out at Charlotte. And, you know, if you would have told any one of us at that point that Blake Harrell was going to be the next head coach at East Carolina, you know, we would have told you were literally insane. You needed to be institutionalized, because at that point, this program was literally on life support. There was no chance of that happening. Things looked bleak offensively. With John David Baker, we were in the midst of a little bit of a quarterback controversy there. And you look where we are 5 weeks later. This team has looked fantastic. They've won 4 in a row. Now we have our new head coach, which I'm really happy for Blake Harrell and the rest of the staff. And, you know, just so much energy today in that press conference and with this football team. And very excited about it. Glad to have it kind of behind us, and just looking forward to Friday and the opportunity to beat Navy.
No doubt. Kyle and Bubba, I just wanted to say this, and then I'll let you guys. I wanted to see what it was like. I'm going to give my perspective being in the room. I was there covering the event today on my lunch hour, which was pretty cool. I just wanted to say, and then I wanted to pass it to you guys, being that you guys saw it online, I'm sure, on video. For me personally, I have been to several of the coaches' hirings and, of course, seen them online. that was the most organic I've ever felt at a press conference, and I'm being honest about that. It was not contrived. It was not like, you know how like they get like donors to like clap really hard and they do all this stuff. I'm not talking about us being East Carolina, but just in general. So the coach, you can put the coach over the top and you can have that. Today, it was sincere. It was the word I would use is warm. It was very warm in that room. The warmth in that room, the love in that room. Blake Harrell is the real deal. And it just,
oh God,
no, not Scotty Montgomery. I know. No, we've been in a lot of those press conferences, and it's not fun. And today was so emotionally way different. Like when I was there for Mike Houston, we were optimistic. You were hopeful. Today, it was a guy that there was an old country, not old, but a more recent times country song from Tim McGraw, "Humble and Kind." And that's the word that I think about Blake Harrell. He's very humble. He's got humble beginnings. He blue collar. He definitely, guys, fits the mold of what we want in an East Carolina coach. A very good coach. Not only is he a nice guy, but he wins ball games. I just want to get y'all's take on what you thought. But in the room, when those players, you would not believe how many players. When Mike Houston came, it was probably 10 or 15 players, maybe. Not like it was a bad turnout, but it was a lot of East Carolina football players. And I just want to get y'all's take on that too. But how was it from your perspective, guys? How was it received from your end as far as like looking at it from, I guess, more like from outside the room? I don't know how else to put it.
Well, in terms of the players, I mean, you would expect that those guys have been playing for him. So, you know, that's the difference there is, you know, with Houston was hired, obviously those kids that have been playing for him, where it's the unique situation. You would expect to have a lot of players there. So, but it's a good thing. They obviously love Blake and have been playing hard for him and wanted them to be their coach permanently. So I would expect them to be there. But it was cool to hear the interaction between the head coach and the players at the press conference. That's something you don't normally get. Yeah, it felt like you said organic. I hate that word, but it is. You know, it did feel that real. It was. I would say
authentic. Is the word.
Authentic. Yeah, I would say. You know, the Terry Holland, Ruffin McNeil, where Terry couldn't introduce Ruff because he was so emotional, and Ann had to do it. I would say that's probably the best East Carolina press conference I've ever seen. But besides that, this was very good today. Very happy for Blake. God knows I was all for this hire because I thought he earned it. And I'll say it, you know, I said it on Pirate Radio the other night, and I'll say it here. Only time will tell if it was the right decision, but it was the right thing to do. Blake earned the job on the field. He went above and beyond. You know, when he got that interim tag, he could have just went through the motions like a lot of people do. But you know, he wanted to win, and he took advantage of an opportunity that he was given, and so he deserves a chance. And so, but just to answer your question about the press conference, I thought it was good. It was good. It was 23 minutes, so you know, not overly long. I was surprised there weren't more questions asked. I don't know if there was more people trying to ask questions. I only heard 4 questions asked. That was a little surprising to me.
Well, what they did was, in fairness to them, what they did was they had it usually is more like 7 to 10 questions, I would say. But what they did was they had the initial ones where we asked questions. And then if you go on our YouTube page, you'll see channel, you'll see our questions that we had. The media had like a media pool with John Gilbert. And then we also
did anybody ask specifically about extending Baker and giving him a raise?
I don't remember that. I did ask about the Broyles Award for JDB, so I did get that question in. But obviously, it was more media there today, so there was it was harder to ask questions. Not because of not that I didn't want to ask about that, but I didn't get a chance to. That was one of the questions I was going to ask that I didn't get to today.
I'm surprised. I'm not singling you out, Dave. I'm surprised nobody asked that. To me, it's the most obvious thing. It's the next step, in my opinion. But let's get Matt and Bubba's thoughts on the press conference.
I agree with you guys that it was real, authentic. And I think John Gilbert, his introduction of Blake Harrell, and as he was, kind of detailing the process and just saying that he had told Coach Harrell, and I think that perhaps this was an interview following Coach Harrell's, words there at the podium, but John Gilbert, either with 94.3 The Game or with Pirate Radio, and had said that, he had told Coach that the awesome thing for him was that he was going to have a chance to interview for this job day in, day out over a month and 5 to 6 week period. And obviously he did so with flying colors. And something that really stood out is when John Gilbert said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, Maya Angelou.
And he's been around Greenville now since, I guess, the winter of 2019, right there going into that 2020 season. So around this time back then, and and that really jumped out to me. And he said that, we've been very impressed with Blake Harrell all along, and just all the more so over the last 6 weeks, and the way he's led this football program during a very tough transitional time. And I'm looking forward to everything the future holds with the program, because there's been a lot of comparisons to Ruff and McNeil, and I think that would have been the case even if Coach Harrell had not referenced, getting some words of advice from Coach Ruff, but even more so since he had.
No doubt. And Pace makes a great point, guys. Real quick. He said when he had to go to the pawn shop to make sure his kids had Christmas gifts and shouting out his wife, man, that hit me. That was like you guys were talking about Ruff and McNeil. Like it was so real. When Ruffin says real, recognizes real. That just I agree with Paige. That was one of the I got almost like emotional, like choked up on that, because I have a son and daughter, and I know exactly how that feels. You want to make sure that they have Christmas. And so that was, he was talking about how his wife had to work multiple jobs to keep his, like she supported his dream. He didn't have to make, it was his day, but he made it about. Another thing that Gilbert said, guys, I'm sorry, Matt, I was just going to add one more point. On Saturday night, when they were getting home at 1 a.m., I think he said 1 a.m.
Between 12 and 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got back to the airport at around 12. God, we were there. I think it was around 12:40 the plane landed.
Okay. But anyway, he said
No,
that.
I'm sorry, 11:40. It was 11:40, 12:40. Anyway, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, he said that Blake, one of the things that impressed him was not only the wins and all the stuff that we see, day to day, but we see, but it was behind the scenes, including on Saturday when they got there. It was really late when they got home early in the morning. And Blake Harrell took the time to acknowledge all the managers, the student managers, all the people that are behind the scenes. He didn't have to do it, but that was one of the things that Gilbert was impressed with. And again, let me just say before I pass it to Matt, congratulations to also the administration. They got this right. And we always say on our show, we call it like the way we see it. I thank them privately today, and I'm thanking them publicly today to the fact that they got this hire right. And Matt, I'll pass it to you. What were your thoughts on the press conference?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all you guys, all your thoughts so far. And, the one thing that really jumps out to me about Blake Harrell, and I observed it again today, is that he's the type of coach that players want to play for. And, let's just take a look at the reaction of the players this week, and at the press conference today, the applause he got and the cheering from the players. And, this is a different era of football. This is no longer, the days of Bill Parcells and Mike Ditka. As much as I sometimes miss those days, players today are different. This is a different generation of athlete, and they respond to, a different style. And I think Blake, brings that style. And, it's just really obvious to me watching that press conference that he's a genuine guy. He really cares about these players. And I think the most important thing is that this is where he wants to be. Like, he genuinely wants this job.
Yes.
He's not a guy that's coming into Greenville, North Carolina, for 1 or 2 years and hoping to parlay that into his next job. And I think that's the type of guy you need here at ECU to win. And I think, I just think he's going to be the type of coach that players resonate with, and he's going to do well in recruiting because of that. So excited for what the future holds. And, I think it might have been Bubba sent me a text today, and I was also reading that, we've already offered in the last 24 hours 4 to 5 portal O linemen, which tells me already that his mind is in the right place, because I've been talking about this for a year. You have to offer and bring in 3 to 5 portal O linemen every year. So I love to see that.
Yeah, and today was great because I was talking about, and I mentioned this in the interview that we did with the media, and I'll pass it back to you guys. But it was really cool because I remember vividly at the hospital, one of my coworkers asking me about in 2020. So we're year 2 of Houston. They go thinking that Houston obviously is going to get, this magical year at some point and, leave. Obviously we hate that it didn't turn out that way, but basically they were asking, who would be the next coach? And I was like, well, gosh, this is like just the second year of Houston, and I said, but I tell you one thing, whenever Houston does leave, they should really give Blake Harrell a strong look, because the guy's a really good dude. He knows football. He just is a really good fit here. And I said, I don't know if he will get the job, but I hope he would, because I guess the term sentimental favorite might be the right word. But the players, this is a chance, guys, where I'll say this too. This is a chance where it just feels right, because it seems like, I don't know how you guys feel, but it seems like the fan base is even 100% behind this move, which is very rare in recent years with Pirate Nation.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys hear me? Okay, yeah. All right, I'm good now. Yeah, no doubt. Everybody, I think, is on board. I won't say everybody. If you go on social media, there are some people that will continue to point out that we've only beaten bad teams. North Texas was a good team up until we beat them. Now they're a bad team. So we've only beaten bad teams. Mike Houston would have done this too. John David Becker's not a great offensive coordinator. Blake Harrell, he's not a great head coach. Blah blah blah. But you're right. The majority of people are behind it, and everybody seems to be united for the most part, which is good, and we need to be. This is a time where, when we fired Houston, we all had our favorites. Mine was Tyson Helton. A lot of people wanted Garrett Riley. A lot of people wanted Joe Sloan. So many names out there, and nobody really thought Blake had a chance. When I heard his first press conference before the Temple game, I kind of had a feeling, a sneaky suspicion that the players were going to play hard for him. And I said, if this guy wins, Pirate Nation is going to fall in love with him, and Gilbert's going to have a problem on his hands.
A good problem.
Yeah, well, it seems like Gilbert's embraced it. And a lot of the donors apparently have embraced it. So as we head into Friday against Navy, as we'll start to preview that here in a minute. We have a lot of momentum. One thing I am scared of is Navy's had an off week. They've had a chance to get healthy. They didn't score the last game, which they are not going to be happy about that. I'm assuming their quarterback's going to be playing this week, Horvath, from coming back from the back spasms that he had to miss the Tulane game. And then I also fear we've had so much emotion this week with the North Texas win, then Blake getting the head coaching job on Monday, then the press conference today. I'm scared of coming out flat on Friday. So that's the, not to be Debbie Downer, wonk wonk. but I am a little worried about that because there's been so much emotion this week before the game that
But
I'm worried we'll be emotionally drained by game time.
let me ask you, Matt. I know you didn't have to go through a coaching change, but do you feel like, guys, another thing, let me add to something else I was going to mention is they got it right. Not only the right hire, the timing of this was perfect. And I'll tell you why. Because our expert on the portal is Matt Semenza. And Matt, I believe the portal opens up Monday, right?
I believe that's correct. Yeah, I
Top of
believe
my
that
head.
is correct. The first portal period. Do we have that right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Off the top of my head. So somebody, if I'm wrong, I'm doing that literally without researching it, but I do believe, from what I remember, I've researched.
Yeah, I think December 1st is correct.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Sunday. So Sunday or Monday. Well, my point is, the reason I agree with everything you're saying, Kyle, like I can get what you're saying, and I know Matt says the Navy game he'd rather be playing Alabama because it's a difficult. Not that we want to play Alabama, but you guys know what I know what you mean, Matt. But I'll tell you why that I feel hopeful, and I'll tell you why. Because I think they got this hire right. You've got the players now. If you hadn't have made that decision, this week, there's never really good timing on this because I know what you're saying, Kyle. But
No. I'm not saying I would. I was encouraging this decision to be made this week.
Oh yeah, I
You
know.
guys, yes, no, I'm not saying. I'm glad that decision was made this week. I'm not saying that. I'm
Right,
just scared that we're going to come out flat against Navy.
right. So Justin's saying December 8th is when the portal opens. Early signing day starts next week. Anyway,
Okay.
but what my point was is that now, thank you, Justin. That's why I don't pretend like to be a talking head. That's why a lot of people watch our show too and listen. The fact of the matter is we have the best fans, the best listeners and viewers ever. But what I was going to make is the fact that now these players, they know their coaches play well. I think that they're going to play harder. I think the only thing that worries me is similar to what you're saying, Kyle. But what worries me, and I want to ask Matt and Bubba, is will they try too hard because it's senior day and we've never beaten Navy before? And I don't know, you guys. You guys have had senior days. I have not. So I'm worried. That's the vantage point I'm taking. Is I'm worried about the level of emotions as far as being. I don't know if it's a word too high. As far as being too high, I want to get y'all's take.
I'm definitely not worried about coming out flat. I'm worried. Like you're saying, coming out, perhaps trying to do too much and too fired up. So I think that's the biggest thing we have to guard against as far as our coaching staff, and I'm sure they'll do just that. But it's certainly easier said than done, especially everyone's so emotional with Coach Harrell's interim tag being removed, but then also senior day and all the factors. And like Kyle named a lot of these things earlier, for Navy, they're coming off an open date, which they always are before they play us. But then also they're coming off a 35-point beatdown at the hands of Tulane. And, they're going to want to get things righted as they're going into that matchup with Army.
Yeah, guys, that bye week can work both ways too. I mean, you can come out ready to play, fresh, with a great game plan, or that bye week can work against you. You can come out sluggish sometimes. I've seen that 100 times where a team comes out in the first quarter, they're actually feeling a little rust coming off that bye week. I feel better about this Navy game than I have playing Navy in a long time. I really do. I love the excitement right now around the program. I think there's a lot of positive momentum. I think the players are feeling really good about the scheme that they're in for the first time in a long time. I feel really good about this game, relatively speaking. Navy has been a thorn in our side for a decade, or
Right.
maybe it's even longer now. I don't know, going back to the early rough years. Their
Hell,
style of
Skip was
play.
0-1 against them.
Going back to Skip, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Their style of play has been it's not that Navy has better talent. It's not that they're better football players. It's a style and a scheme that has been a thorn in our side. And I feel like we're better equipped to handle that this year. Now, another thing that gives me hope, as I was doing some research today, we talked about 2 weeks ago, the quarterback for Navy, Blake Horvath, went down with bruised ribs. I was doing a little digging around today on Navy's, some Navy boards and some websites, and found a post-practice interview from yesterday afternoon with both quarterbacks, Braxton Woodson, Blake Horvath. I thought it was really interesting. Braxton Woodson, who was the backup, took the first questions, and the reporter said to him, how are you feeling about your increased role this week? And I thought that was very interesting, which signals to me that this reporter saw something in practice, that Braxton Williams is taking the majority of the reps and Blake Horvath is still hurt. So, who knows what's going to happen with that, but I have reason to believe Blake Horvath is still banged up, and that, they are not the same team when he's not playing quarterback. So, and if he does play, man, hey, listen, this is football. You want to get after him from the first play. You want to hit him hard. All right. Not saying anything dirty, but you want to make him feel every hit with those bruised ribs and get after him. And so that's going to be an interesting thing to watch for in pregame warmups.
So it's bruised ribs, man. Okay, everybody was saying back spasms. Bruised ribs.
Oh, that hurts.
And back spasms are two different things. Man, you got bruised ribs, and you played football, man. You have trouble breathing if it's bad enough. Well, it hurts to breathe, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when he went down initially in that game 2 weeks ago, that they weren't sure what it was, and I think they mentioned back spasms. Sounds to me like it's more of a bruised rib situation. But just something to look out for, because they are not the same team with Braxton Woodson at quarterback.
I didn't realize that I forgot that he was hurt. By the way, guys, I did want to mention one of the points getting ready for the show tonight. I was looking up I did do this research, guys. As far as the standings go, I'm really excited. I thought it was right, but there's a three-way as of right now, tonight being Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve. We sit here doing this show. There are three teams: East Carolina, Memphis, and Navy. All three are 5-2. Now, tomorrow night, Tulane and Memphis play. Is it 7:30? I think off the top of my head, it's tomorrow night or Friday night. Anyway. So what I was getting at is the fact that you have Navy. All three of us are in third. Technically, all three of us are in third place. So with that being said, that Memphis Tulane game could mean that if Tulane wins, like I think they will, it is tomorrow night. Thank you, Pace. I thought it was. So let's say tomorrow night, Memphis loses to Tulane. They're knocked out of third place. Then it'll come down to Friday that Navy and East Carolina at Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium at high noon are playing for third place. Now, all four of us on the show.
Well, we're still playing for third place regardless, because we don't play Memphis, and Navy beat Memphis. So if we beat Navy, we finish third.
Okay, regardless. Okay.
Yep.
But my point is that we're playing for third place, and I don't want third place. However, if you told the Dave October 20th, Dave, and all you guys, that we had a chance the last game of the season to be 6-2 in the conference. When's the last time, guys, we've been 6-2 in the conference? Maybe 21?
Never.
That's right.
This would be our highest finish ever in the American.
That's right.
We finished 5-3 a few times. But, yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was 5-3 or 6-2. Okay, so so that's even what my point is. My point is about this Navy game. It's more than just Navy. It's for third place. It's for the best we've ever done. And considering how we were sitting there October 20th, at 3-4 and overall, and the fact that we have a chance to win 5 straight, 8 wins, and Bubba knows this. How many times, Bubba, but maybe Kyle, in the last 25 years, this century, have we won 9 games? And we did in
the last 25 years. How many times we won 9 games?
We did in 2013. We won 10.
13 we won 10. see.
In 2008 and 2009, under
Yes,
Skip, we
yes.
went 9 and
Three,
5
right?
both years.
Yeah, so
that'd be it.
So 3 times. This would be the 4th time in 25 years that we've won potentially 9 games. I'm not, hey, 1 game at a time. I'm just saying, my point is to this whole thing, there's so much to play for when, if you roll back the October 20th, Dave, and all of us in Pirate Nation, it just feels like this would be just a throwaway
It feels
game.
like 2 different seasons. It
Right.
feels like 2 completely different seasons.
Exactly.
You have before Blake Harrell, after Blake Harrell, or before Mike Houston, after, or during Mike Houston, after Mike Houston, kind of deal. It really does. Starting with that Temple game, it feels like a completely different season, and it's just kept rolling. And the culmination of the regular season this Saturday, or I guess this Friday, at 12 o'clock in Dowdy-Ficklen against Navy. It would be a huge win anytime to beat Navy. We've never done it in Greenville, but this would give us 8 wins. We would finish 3rd in the conference. It would keep the momentum going for Blake and the staff, heading into the bowl game and the postseason, et cetera, recruiting, all that, all the positive momentum. Because if you lose this one, even if you lose a close one, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to then start second guessing the decision, immediately knee-jerk reactions. So for a lot of reasons, we need to win this football game. And I like what Matt pointed out, that that Horvath may be out, because I haven't seen the other kid play. I know against Tulane he didn't do well. So if he doesn't play, I can't imagine that being nothing but a good thing for us.
Yeah, guys.
As far as what we're going to see with this Navy offense, to quote Coach Blake Harrell, what he said at the press conference this week is that typically when you face Navy, they're about 90-10, maybe even stronger than that as far as percentage run versus pass. This year they're more like 75-25, so they throw the ball a lot more under new OC Drew Cronick than they had previously. And he's a guy, very successful head coach at NAI, program Reinhardt, 2 years there, 22-3, took them to the NAI semifinals. Then in 2 years at LR was 25-3, and took them to the D2 semifinals, and then moved up to FCS, or an FCS program in Mercer, and went 28-17 with the Bears prior to accepting the OC job on Brian Newberry's staff at Navy. So 75-23 in those 8 years as a head coach, and he's certainly brought a much needed, re-energization, I guess you could say, of that Navy offense, because they had really struggled in recent years. And how frustrating has it been as a Pirate fan? Last year 10-0. We've been able to stop them or slow them down at the very least, but have not been able to produce any points.
Yeah, and some really good points there, Bubba. And going back to that interview with Braxton Woodson I heard today, one of the things he talked about was how explosive we were playing offensively, and that their plan was to try to hold the ball and make sure that we don't get the ball, just like Charlotte did to us, with that similar game plan. And so it's going to be really important for us to continue to mix in the ground game like we've been doing so effectively recently, because like Bubba's pointing out, they are a very well-coached team. When you look at Newberry and Drew Cronick, and they're doing things a little bit differently now. And it's different in some ways. They're throwing a little bit more. Horvath has 11 touchdown passes, but at the end of the day, it's still the option. And same principles. Have to play great on first down defense. Have to try to find a way to get them in 3rd and medium and 3rd and long.
Right.
The other thing about Navy is you can't let them, once they get into the red zone, they're scoring touchdowns. I think they're number 1 in the country in red zone percentage. So, and that's because they're so effective with that option in the red zone. So you have to get stops, before they get deep enough into your own territory where they're going to score, and presents a lot of challenges. But I like the fact that we've now seen them multiple times. We have more experience against it, and I think our guys are going to be ready to go.
Hey,
Yeah,
guys.
the other quarterback's name is Woodson. Is that right, Matt?
His name's Braxton Woodson.
Okay, so Woodson, if he's talking that much, talking about the game plan and what they're going to do offensively to hold on to the ball, that tells me that they don't expect Horvath to play because that game plan in itself sounds like more like you're not going to have your quarterback. So we'll see. And if you don't have your quarterback, that is a good game plan.
Right.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes. I do love the fact, and something you mentioned, Matt, we can run the ball now. We weren't able to do that when we were playing Charlotte. So, yes, we can fast, but as we've seen here, particularly late in games recently, we can go long sustained drives, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, no doubt. By the way, guys, one of the things that I want to get your opinion on here on a previous show I thought about today, and I've been thinking about it the last few days, is do you guys feel like we know what East Carolina's doing, but do you guys feel like that we're a team that's getting hot at the right time, and maybe Navy is like plummeting a little bit? Not a lot. It's not like there's I'm not saying that it's a nosedive, but do you feel like that maybe they've peaked, or do you think that I'm not taking them for granted? Don't get me wrong.
Well, when you look at who they've lost to, with the exception of Rice, which was just unexplainable, they lost to Notre Dame and Tulane. In between that, they had a dominating win. Oh, who was it? Was it South Florida guys? They beat who was it? They've in between the losses to Notre Dame, Rice, and then Tulane. Who was it they beat in between there?
Charlotte, right? I know they destroyed Charlotte.
That was earlier. I want to say it was South Florida.
Yeah, they played Charlotte right after East Carolina, and yes, Kyle, it was down in Tampa against South Florida.
Yeah, so that was a nice win. South Florida, maybe. Yeah, so there you go. And shutting down South Florida's offense, that's pretty scary, actually. And that's not something we're taking into account. We're talking about their offense. They got a pretty damn good defense. So, going down to South Florida and shutting them down like that is impressive. South Florida can't stop anybody, but they can score.
Yeah, it's correction 28-7. I know it was 28. I know it was 21-0 in the fourth quarter, but yeah, 28-7 was that result down in Tampa. And it was a game that they took control of early, I think, scoring on their first two possessions. And I know, Kyle, you had a chance to watch a decent amount of that one. I did not. As trying to remember, I was on the road.
No, I didn't watch much.
Traveling somewhere. But
I didn't watch much of that one. I watched a lot of the Navy Rice game, or at least the fourth quarter of it. I was on the way back from a concert, and the Navy Rice game was way delayed. Look, here's the thing with Navy.
With our turnover issues, that's something that obviously always you want to take care of business there, but even more so when you're in what's probably going to be a lower possession game like this. And if we turn the ball over 2, 3, or more times the way we have in majority of the games this year, we're going to be very hard pressed to win, and without forcing 2 or 3 ourselves, because this is a team where if you're giving them extra opportunities and giving them short fields, it's most likely going to be a long day.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. What I was going to point out about the schedule, who they've played and won and lost to. They lost to Notre Dame, obviously top 25 team. Tulane, top 25 team. The upset to Rice of their 3 losses. They got upset by Rice. That was a game. It was the week after the Notre Dame game. They had one of the longest rain delays in the history or lightning delays in the history of lightning delays, like 10 hours or something like that. The game was played in an empty Rice Stadium. It was over with around 12:30 Eastern, and we all know Navy typically plays day games, so let alone a lightning delay night game on the road where it's over with after 12. So everything in the world was going against them at Rice. So you kind of take that one off the table, and they've only lost to Tulane and Notre Dame. So yeah, it's a tall task Friday. Anybody that doesn't believe that is delusional.
Yeah, and what are those two teams or three teams that you just mentioned, Kyle? The thing that they have in common, especially Notre Dame and Tulane, is that they're physical teams up front. And the key to beating option style football is always if you can beat the man in front of you, especially in particular in the front seven, if you can beat the man in front of you and be more physical, you're going to have a chance to slow down that offense and make plays. And you look at this you look at this matchup, right? And Navy is top 3 in the country on their very first possession of the game in scoring. They're very proficient when they get the ball, they get the opening kick, they go right down the field and score more often than not. It's one of the big things in this game is, if you win the toss, if you're ECU and you win the toss, you want the ball because anytime you play an option style team, you want to play with a lead. It's very important to play with a lead against an option style team because once you get down, they can really start to bleed clock and do some different things. So if we win the toss, take the ball. Conversely, if they do win the toss and take the ball, which they will, it's important to be ready to go from the first snap and get a stop. You have to get a stop right away because they're just so good in scoring on the first possession. So, and then the other thing, guys, I'm going to say is we can't beat ourselves. We can't have pre-snap movement. We can't have idiotic face masks and late hits out of bounds and dumb holding penalties 20 yards from the play. That will get us beat. I'm telling you right now, we were able to get away with it against North Texas and somebody. We won't get away with that this week.
What was that? Yeah, I'm sorry, Matt. I was just going to say, add to your point. What was that one drive that we had, and Coach Harrell talked about it? Wasn't it like 3 15-yard penalties, or it was like 40 or 45 yards?
It was 30 yards of face mask penalties.
You just can't have that. And so, like that. And then when you guys make a great point too with Navy, is I was going to mention that earlier is, and I forgot, was to get the ball first because they chew up so much clock that you're looking normal in a normal game is 12 possessions maybe on average, and that's another reason why, Bubba, to your point about the turnovers, when you look at if you only get 12 possessions in a regular game, you're probably looking at maybe 10 for Navy. It's going to trim off a couple of them, and then if you have the interceptions or you have fumbles or any kind of turnovers, then that your chances of scoring is even less. So I know I'm stating the obvious, but that's something that you've got to play. Matt talked about disciplined football, and definitely when you have the chance to score, we can't have the drop passes, the penalties, the turnovers. It's got to be as smooth as we can on Friday. It doesn't have to. I don't think it has to be perfect, but it can't be what we did in North Texas. And I'll just put it this way. Speaking of master of the obvious, you get down 21-0 to Navy, it's all over.
Well, yeah, most likely. But no, the penalties have to. We got to clean a lot of those up. Obviously, you're right. If Matt too, if you do that against any good football team, but particularly against Navy, you got to be disciplined on defense because playing that style of offense kind of requires that. So that's going to be, we've been playing with so much emotion and intensity, and that's a good thing. But we're going to need to be a little bit more disciplined on the defensive side of the ball, particularly this week. And their defense again is something we haven't talked about is really good. Newberry does a great job. It's similar schematically to what we do. So we do get to practice against it quite a bit, but on the same side, they get to practice against it all. Since we run the same defense or similar defenses, both teams are going to see it in practice. So preparing for the defenses shouldn't be hard.
But certainly hasn't equated to success on offense.
Exactly.
With the exception of 2021.
You would almost think, Bubba, in 21 being the exception, that there would be more high scoring games between these two because we do see the defense so much on both sides, but it really hasn't been that way. Maybe this will be the year where maybe this will be a shootout. I'll take a win in, however we can get it. If it's 43-40 or if it's 3-0. You just beat Navy.
Matt talked about the red zone efficiency of the midshipmen, and they scored on 28 out of their 31 trips, with 26 of those 28 scores being touchdowns. So that shows you anytime they get down there, if we can force them to kick a field goal, that's even more of a win than usual. And in just a moment, and that ranks, I think, 27th nationally. And defensively, I'll tell you where they rank from a defensive standpoint down in the red zone in just a moment.
But
they are 9th defensively in the red zone. So one of the most efficient teams in the country in the red zone. Again, 9th defensively and 27th offensively. So when the Pirates get down there, we got to do what we've been doing, continue to get touchdowns more often than not, and at least got to come away with something. Can't afford to miss any chip shot field goals.
Let's just hit explosion plays.
Exactly.
Hey, Matt, and if you're like me on Sunday, please don't miss any extra points. So, just saying.
We can't. Yeah, we just can't afford to do that kind of thing against this team. It's just it's not going to equate to a win. But Kyle said something I think is really important. I mean, one of the reasons why we've been scoring at a much higher rate and more effective in the red zone, obviously, we've hit a lot more explosion plays, but our ability to run the ball now in the red zone is really making a big difference for us. And we've been very effective at that, better than I've seen in years. So I think that's going to be helpful.
Have you noticed, guys, I want to ask you guys about speaking of the running game. I just want to get your take, the three of y'all. But I've noticed now that we have the sample size of Blake Harrell over the last 4 games, we're 4-0. Have you guys noticed, or maybe it's me, I'm sorry I've missed the last 2 Sundays for the playback, but I've noticed it just feels like with the running game, there's like this explosiveness. And I know the offensive line we have to give them credit, but the guys are seeing the holes. You look at Rajay Harris, you look at Marlon Gunn, you look at London Montgomery. All 3 of those guys have just been, I don't know if the word step up their game. They haven't been playing bad, but they're seeing things a lot differently is, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, the running game has been a huge improvement. Offensive line has a lot to do with it. Guys running with confidence has a lot to do with it. The play calling, having the right quarterback in there, getting us into the right play, whether it be a run or a pass. I think having JDB on the sideline has helped a lot with that, with getting us into the right play. If a run's on the, if hey, we need to audible into a run, So the run game's improved dramatically. And you see it late in the game. Really, Rajay really will take over a ball game, or he has the last couple of weeks.
Look at that. So I will put up that stat. The Pirates have run for 222 plus yards in 4 games straight, including 255 against North Texas. And the last time, guys, we won 4 straight was 2021. So there's got to be some correlation there about.
Bubba, have you looked into? I know we knew 3 straight was 89, 200 yards rushing. When's the last time we did 4 straight? When Pat Dye was head coach? Whatever 200 yards rushing.
Not sure. My guess is that 89, like you said, was for 3 straight, and the only reason I had that statistic was because ECU Pirates football created a graphic with it. Because all I knew is it was pre-2004, because that's as far back as the stats went, game by game. Otherwise, I would have attempted to do the research on this one because I was curious as well. But they're in the Ed Emery and Art Baker era, and then 89 obviously was first year of Bill Lewis. But we ran the option a lot under Coach Emery and Coach Baker. So, and even though we weren't very good, my guess is that we may have done it in one of those areas without going all the way back to Pat Dye, but I don't know for sure.
Oh, we had some good
You know,
years under
And I
him.
say we
Rick.
weren't very good. Obviously, we were very good in '83, and we're good another year or two under Big Ed. But just
82.
year in year out, so we were not very good, but we were playing extremely challenging schedules.
You know what's so ironic about that, Bubba? Think about the irony in this whole situation. Mike Houston was hired here, and his big thing from day one was we're going to run the football. We're going to be physical at the point of attack. Isn't it ironic, guys, that this happened in the 4 games since
Yeah.
Mike Houston was replaced here? And I think Bubba summed this up perfectly last week. It's not so much that we're not running the ball more or less than we have been. We're getting to these runs in a different way. All right. We're attacking downfield and making plays. We're attacking the perimeter. And what that does is then opens up the running game, which then opens up the RPO. It opens up the RPO. So we're just getting there in a different way that's more effective. But I just think it's so ironic that was Mike Houston's MO. We're going to be physical. We're going to run the ball. And the second he gets replaced, we now have 4 of our best rushing games in forever.
Yeah, well, the creativity in the running game, you absolutely, even in the passing game, just more of the perimeter game. Period. Both running and passing opens up the middle of the field for the run game. You throw in the pass, running it outside to run it up the middle. We're getting our guys in space more, which then opens up the middle, which is what Houston wanted to do all along, was run it up the middle. And we ain't in the Big Ten. You have to get to it a different way here. And we're doing that, and we'll see how it plays out. So, yeah, what I was going to say earlier, as we were talking about Navy's offense, again, to me, as we talk about all their red zone stats and how unbelievable they are with scoring in the red zone, and to me, that's all with Horvath. If he doesn't play, if Matt's info is correct, if Matt's got good intel, Matt's a good detective, and he's right, and they don't have Horvath, that to me that changes everything with this game potentially.
No doubt. And guys, I'll keep looking, Bubba. I'm looking at those stats for you right now about the last. Maybe they usually have on our game notes. I'll look that for you guys about the last time 4 straight games with is over 200 yards. Is that what you're looking for? 200.
Yeah, the last time with 3 straight was 89. And so we don't know when the last time 4 straight was. And maybe we'll get 5 straight this week, as Pace pointed out. Tulane, and Tulane's the top 25 football team. Tulane ran for over 200 yards against Navy. So I don't. I hope we do. I'm not expecting that, but I hope we do it. If we do it, we should win. Knock on wood.
Yeah, guys. Here's a great question from Pace. Is Sowell and Wright going to play? Yes. My understanding, Pace, is here's the deal. Both those guys were ready to play last week. They suited them up. But you know something? Blake Harrell is a great dude, because Blake Harrell actually did not start them on purpose, because he was thinking more about them personally and their future than his future being head coach. And if you want to know why do these players love Blake Harrell, that's why, because they were doing that. And so, Matt and Bubba, you've been former players. You have to respect a dude that loves his players so much that he's not going to put them out there if they're a little bit banged up. So that gave them an extra week. And then it's a little bit of gamesmanship, because even he said, when you see a player that's suited up, you don't know if they're going to play or not. So my hat's off to Blake for doing that. But they should be, the answer is they should be playing this week.
Yeah, and I think the difference this week too is that, let's just say Chase Sowell, right? I think he's dealing with a nagging hamstring. Let's say he gives it a go and he plays a few series and he realizes, hey, this thing's not right. He now has, weeks, 3 weeks or so before a potential bowl game to heal up, so you can play a little more aggressively in that sense. So I do think that both of those guys are going to give it a go, and hopefully they're ready to contribute. In particular, Winston Wright returning punts, I think, is a big thing I'm looking for, because my God, we cannot field a punt to save our lives.
Yeah, I just want us to just get away from it. Just let it bounce.
I mean, last week we put somebody totally different back there, and it was almost a disaster in the end zone. We have got to find somebody who can field a punt. And, I don't think Winston Wright has been, he hasn't really excelled in the punt return game this year, but I do feel best with him back there that at the very least, we're gonna catch the ball or, not give up a disastrous play. But just something to look out for. But hopefully they both play.
And that's special teams. What we talk about. You want to talk about winning and losing, man. Special teams is you cannot give. We talked about mistakes and penalties. We cannot give those. You guys made a great point, and I failed to mention about special teams. We cannot. We were talking about extra points, missed field goals, and when you think about Winston Wright Jr., that guy is due, man. That guy is due, and wouldn't it be great to have run a punt back all the way back, or get. Or if
kickoff return.
Yeah, I'm sorry, kickoff return. Thank you, Kyle. Kickoff return back, or have one that's like at the plus 30 or plus 40, something like that, because then that takes less pressure. And then also, guys, the thing about Houston, I talked about, my biggest criticism was how he was so conservative on offense. Here's a situation where if we get up, 3 or 4 scores, then we can not take the foot off the gas, so to speak. But we can definitely we don't have to be as aggressive. However, Blake mentioned that, by the way, another great point of the press conference today that made Matt. I thought about you. He was talking about how he's aggressive, and I was like, thank God, it's great to hear a coach talk about that they're aggressive, and they're going to open it up on offense. And it was a funny thing about how Gilbert talked about that Blake Harrell said he'd never been asked a question about a quarterback because he'd never been in the position of a head coach. So
that's who we are. That's who we are in East Carolina. We're not a conservative team. Like Kyle said before, we're not a Big Ten team. We're not going to line up and steamroll people. We need to be aggressive here. We need to have an up-tempo attacking offense. That's what our DNA is here.
Yep.
Right? And that's what Lincoln Riley showed so well when he was here. Now, we got away with it for a few years under the Skip regime, but that was let's face it, how often do we get 3 or 4 dudes on the D-line that are NFL caliber players? So that's not really the norm. This is who we are. So let's stick to it, man. Let's stay aggressive.
There are very few teams around the country that are just going to line up and run it right at you, and just with very little creativity in the running game at that. I mean, just lining up in a single back set for the most part and running it between the tackles.
No, it's not going to work in 2024, and particularly at East Carolina. Going all the way back to the Logan days, wide open offenses. And then it continued, under Ruffin and Lincoln. And you're right, with the one exception of anybody who had any sustained success being, conservative was Skip. Houston, if you look back at the 2 years he did win here, we were more wide open on offense. Not to the level we are now. But no, that is who we are. It's in our intro. It's in our intro at East Carolina. You go for it every time. So yeah, it is definitely who we are, and being aggressive, going for it on 4th down, throwing the ball downfield, taking chances, trick plays. You're right. It's absolutely who East Carolina is, and it's amazing. As soon as we go back to that, we start winning.
Yeah, by the way, another great point, guys, that Shell makes. Hello, Shell from the Queen City. How you doing, buddy? He said, I do like the fact that Vegas has I was going to ask this early in the show and forgot, so thank you, Shell. Vegas has us at its 2.5-point favorite, so they clearly think it'll be a close game. It's definitely going to be a close game, and I tell you,
that line has moved around a lot. Is it back to us 2.5?
It is, and
that would indicate that you're right about their quarterback not playing.
You know what, Kyle? That's exactly. I read some. I was on covers.com, which I get a lot of information from covers.com, and reading one of the Navy insiders that predicts the games with the spreads. As of about an hour and a half ago, it was ECU -2.5, and that's exactly what they cited, was that this game, some of the odds makers don't know where to go with it because they're unsure of the quarterback situation.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think our odds of winning this game improved dramatically.
No,
They don't
yes,
have.
it is. Jonathan Davis. Yes, it is. I was just on covers.com. It's ECU minus 2.5.
Okay.
Oh, there you go, Matt. Get him.
uh,
I literally just read it. I just read it an hour ago. It's 2.5.
Yeah, and to be fair to Jonathan Davis, without reading what he said, depending on the sports book you look at, he may be getting a different line. I'm going to go check. You guys talk amongst yourselves. There's a place I know that will show you the line movement. So let me go look at that, and then I'll be right back. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. Hey, guys, I was asking a poll question amongst our viewers and listeners tonight on Facebook and YouTube. So thank you very much. I know we had Wes is saying that he wants to go to the Boca Bowl or Bahamas Bowl. I know that our good friend Justin Butts appreciate with the Queens End Revenge and driving the equipment all over the country for us each and every game. We're very thankful for him. He wants the Cure Bowl because it's in Orlando. I'm saying my gut feeling, I want a Florida Bowl, but I'm actually thinking this is my prediction, early prediction, guys, right here. A hot take. I don't know anything. Speculation, gut feeling. Military Bowl against North Carolina. Mac Brown has to play against us. It would be a great storyline.
It is East Carolina minus 2.5 almost everywhere. Every sports book. There are some sports books that had East Carolina minus 1 or East Carolina minus 1.5, but Navy is no longer favored at any sports book as we sit here at 9:36 on Wednesday night. So there you go. What bowl? Military. I'm like you. I for multiple reasons. One, it's easy to travel to.
Yep.
2, opportunity to play an ACC opponent, potentially somebody like North Carolina or North Carolina State. My second choice would be Myrtle Beach just because of travel. But I think with 7 wins and a brand new head coach and potentially 8 wins and a brand new head coach, Myrtle Beach probably ain't going to happen. Boca's a terrible date. It's Wednesday the 18th. It's a horrible date. Orlando's not a lot better. It's a little bit better. It's the 20th. It's a Friday.
Right.
But
long weekend.
Yeah, but you got to work up to that point. Some people have to work on the 20th. I wouldn't be able to go to it, but the Independence Bowl would be cool. Just from a lineage standpoint, the American does have the Independence Bowl this year, so it'd be cool to go there from a lineage standpoint. Plus, you're going to play a current Pac-12 team, which there's only 2 of: Washington State, Oregon State, or a former Pac-12 team as they run out the contract, which would be a team from the Big 12 or the Big 10. So
hey,
that would be a fun one also.
Speaking of Jonathan, glad to have you, Jonathan, here tonight. He's got hello. He says Sports Illustrated has us playing against LSU, but of course the subject to change. Would love to play them. Would be an awesome game.
What are the Independents? In what bowl? In what bowl are we playing LSU?
That's what I was gonna. That was my next question, Kyle.
I don't even think we have a tie against the SEC. Do we, Jonathan? What bowl are you referring to? Because Birmingham used to be against the SEC, but I believe that's ACC now also, unless I'm,
He says, hold on. He's checking it out.
Okay.
Waylon, our good buddy. Hey, what's up, Waylon? He says, go Myrtle Beach. Great schedule for working and holiday. I agree with you, Waylon. That one in the military. And then if I had, as far as weather is concerned, Florida bowls, but for me, my gut feeling is military. And I know Matt, by the way, Matt's going to say, my gut feeling is Matt's going to say.
If Fenway also is going to be another one, that's another one you play an ACC opponent.
Fenway would be cool. Fenway would be cool. Like, that would be nice. Like,
I love sports, and I love, obviously, that would
just
be
no Boston College in the Fenway Park Bowl, please.
Yeah. I just like locations that are direct flights, like Myrtle. That's why Myrtle Beach is appealing to me. The Cure Bowl is appealing.
The Gasparilla Bowl.
The Gasparilla.
LSU versus East Carolina.
That would be exciting.
How in the world would LSU end up in the Gasparilla Bowl?
I don't know. It seems like that would be tough, but like for them, not for. I mean, all I care about is we're in a bowl. I mean, again, going back to October 20th, the bowl seemed to be like a little far fetched.
If we beat LSU in a bowl game, do you think anybody would say then that we've beat a good team? I mean, I don't
terrible.
know.
No, they would say
everybody sat out, so it doesn't count. A bunch of people sat out, so it doesn't count.
Or that they were really down this year, right, Matt? They didn't have the players to beat East Carolina, so.
Yeah, well, there would be every excuse, but that would be, I mean, Jonathan Davis mentions that game. I mean, that would be exciting. And
wouldn't it?
I would also, I'll tell you, I would love to have a crack at UNC and the military, and because I think that we would win that game.
And by the way, Wes. Hey, by the way, Wes makes a great point. If Carolina, I'll put this up on the screen. Wes makes a great point. Carolina and NC State play this week. If UNC wins this weekend, he hopes that because he says it keeps State out of a bowl. I forgot about that. They have to win this weekend to get in a bowl, to be bowl eligible.
Would you rather play NC State or North Carolina in the Military Bowl if you had to pick?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Because of the interim coach situation. They would have an interim head coach, probably a lot of guys sitting out that bowl game, a lot of guys in the portal. So yeah, I'm kind of with you from that aspect. I think it would be a easier path to victory.
I'm just laughing at the guy. I agree, man. Like, that team's kind of in shambles right now. They got blown out in Boston College last week. And yes, to Justin Butt's point, extend the streak. Exactly. I think that's a game we would definitely win.
We could be a 4-time winner against UNC. That's what. And another thing is, I know Mac Brown's gone, but he wouldn't play us. Coach Logan told a story about how he wrote back when he was coach, obviously, or the early 90s, and he wrote Mac Brown, like for them to get a series, and Mac Brown, like, basically in a nice way just said, like, screw off, that's not the words he used, but basically that's the way he had it, and I just don't have respect for a coach. I like the Cliff Godwins of the world that says if it's in a grocery store parking lot, we're going to play you. Well, in this particular case of football, we're going to line up against you and we're going to play you anytime, anywhere, any place. Not this UNC soft, oh gosh, we can't, like after the most depressing press conference if you're a UNC fan is that when Mac Brown after James Madison, how, like, in other words, we shouldn't even be playing James Madison right now anyway, because they're, lower than us, and I'm like going, no, dude, they're on the same level as you are. You just got your butt kicked by James Madison. The last thing you need to do is talking about how you shouldn't
North
even.
Carolina should never lose to a Group of 5 team was Mac Brown's quote.
Yeah.
Well, you did, Mac. No, and again, and that goes back, and I don't want to pile on Coach Houston because, the staff is here now because of Houston. But, he idolized Mac Brown, and, I always kind of wondered, once I found that out, and I didn't know that initially, how in the world does somebody who idolizes Mac Brown would ever work here long term? And it didn't. And, of course, initially I was obviously behind the Mike Houston hire, and like everybody was, and just over time it just didn't work.
Yeah, and now, isn't it funny how isn't it funny, guys? Now, how another thing, even our fan base, the staff, everything is lighter now. The fact that we've won 4 straight, the music sounds better. When I was listening to classic rock driving to work this morning, the music sounded better. The food, the food tastes better. I don't know, but. Man, it just seemed like with and I'm not piling on Houston as well, but it just seemed like everything was my point. Everything was very heavy under Houston. And another thing that Blake has done that recognized, by the way, he talked about that he has like ADHD. He was joking, not, but in other words, what he's doing is he's Matt and Bubba, I want to ask you guys about this. He's actually cutting meeting times down. He's doing, I don't want to say less practices, but he's trying to look out for the fact that the body's obviously this point of the season. You got to be careful hitting, you don't want to get players injured, not the Scotty Moe pro style practice kind of mess going on. But he's being very careful. And hey, whatever he's doing is working. 4 straight victories. So keep it up, coach, right?
Yeah, no doubt. It's, whatever he's done has certainly the players have responded to it. The practice style, et cetera. Now, it's going to be different in the off season. You still got to bust your ass and work hard to get ready for the season. But yeah, I think lots of times, and I never played, Matt and Bubba did, but um, you do need to start pulling back probably a little this time of year because look, you're as good as you're going to get.
Right.
It is what it is now. You just need to prepare for the opponent.
Yeah, and Jonathan makes a great point here. I think the attitude at ECU has changed dramatically. I think the fan base is back, people. I have seen 99% favorable opinions of Harrell. I think he's the right hire. He will have success.
Yeah, I certainly hope Jonathan's right and believe that too. And we'll be interested to see what the crowd is Friday. I think Bubba spoke with the people at the ticket office, and I think 33,000 tickets had been distributed as of Monday. They were expecting maybe 36,000 Friday. So, if we have 36,000 there and they're all loud and into it, that'll be good. I'd like to get 40 in there, but 36 in about crowd for Friday after Thanksgiving at noon. So.
And by the way, I wanted to add to that, Kyle. Thank you for bringing that up because we like to give the administration and the ticket office and everybody credit whenever they have that promotion they have. You can get a $10 football ticket and a $5 basketball ticket. So you can see both games for $15. Are you kidding me? You can't even go to a movie for that. Come on. What are you doing on Black Friday other than, you have obviously shopping in the morning, you get that over with, or you could just shop online like I do. I don't even go to the stores anymore.
A lot of people are traveling there out of town. Yeah, but if you're in the area, and if you can't come to the game, man, get your tickets to somebody else's hands, and
right.
Maybe if you have family, come and see if you can get your hands on some tickets to bring them with you. We need to get as many people in there as possible. Have a great atmosphere to try to keep this momentum going for Coach Harrell, and the fans can make a difference in this game.
And by the way, guys, I was just going to add to that, Kyle. Paul Cornwell said today on the Patrick Johnson show, good luck to the Chargers. Aiden Griffin is a great program. He's come back. His second stint there, their third week of the playoffs. Guess what? They're going to the first half of the game. So all the Chargers are going to be there. Paul Cornwell, of course, is a great Pirate, great coach, great guy. I think that's a great idea. He said he's never done that before, but it works out being a noon game. So they're going to go the first half. And that's really cool because, again, what we talked about before, this is a great thing. The promotion they're doing, a $10 football ticket. Are you kidding me? And we talked about the inventory for the upper. I assume that'll be the upper deck. We've got probably 6,000, 7,000. I don't even know how many it is. I don't want to speak, but on that, but it's thousands of seats on that upper deck that we need to be. If it's not giving away, have a reduced ticket like they're doing.
Yeah, you have the $10 tickets that you mentioned. You have $5 tickets if you're a Pitt County Schools employee.
Wow.
And those, I believe, are, in the boneyard with the majority of the students, being home for Thanksgiving. Obviously, you'll have some locals and then a handful of others that just want to be there that will make that drive back or stay in town. And then, like you mentioned, you can take your football ticket to the ticket office and get a $5 basketball ticket to watch the Pirates and North Carolina A&T at 5:30. Also, I just saw this on X, the Scallywags, the student section for ECU women's soccer, and obviously they support all the programs. But they said, and we both know that you don't want to cook tonight because you have a big meal to make tomorrow. They were encouraging folks to come on out to Pizza Hut and get, if you buy $20+ worth of pizza from Pizza Hut, you get, and this is Greenville and Winterville locations, you get 2 tickets to the Navy game.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great.
That's awesome. Great. Yeah, go get you a couple of pizzas and get a couple of tickets to the Navy game. That's a good thing. That's actually really smart because a lot of folks have family in town coming in town tonight for Thanksgiving tomorrow, and they're picking up pizza. And they might not even, hey, look, we got some extra tickets for the game now, or that's a really good idea. Something I wanted to mention here, I talked to Meador earlier this week, and he loved the idea. I don't know that it'll be implemented, but we got this old Give me a hell yeah thing from Blake Harrell, and Gilbert did it. Give me a hell yeah. Well, we all know who originated "Give Me a Hell Yeah," and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin, infamously. Give me a hell yeah. So, how badass would it be if on third down we had Stone Cold, give me a hell yeah.
Give me a hell yeah.
Well, that's not quite the same. And then the glass shatters. Well, Dave's the only one that knows the freaking Stone Cold entrance music on the show.
I know what you're
But
talking
you
about.
have the glass shatter, and then the Stone Cold entrance music for third down, being where doing this "Give Me a Hell Yeah" thing. That'd be so badass. And
Hey,
almost anything
Man,
would
that
be
is an
better than.
amazing. That's an amazing idea. I
that's
love
a
it.
great idea.
Absolutely love it.
Thank
That
you.
would be badass. I got to give you props on that one. That is that would be, and plus you get the fans involved too. That's what I really
Yeah.
like about it. You
Yeah,
get
the
the fans
people will
involved.
be.
Exactly. You get the whole crowd going, hell yeah, and then the Stone Cold music starts, and quite honestly, anything would be better than the third down song we have now.
Will says been saying that for years, Kyle. Justice says great idea.
There you go. So we got Will's been saying. So Will's been wanting to do the. I'm assuming he means the Stone Cold music for years. So yeah, there you go. Now it's the perfect opportunity to do it with the "Give Me a Hell Yeah" before, then into the Stone Cold music with the glass shattering, and would work perfect. And the song we have on third down now is just friggin' hideous.
I don't even. It doesn't make it. Like when you're thinking about when you're in radio and what you want to do is, guys. Sorry, I'll just use this reference. You'll understand where I'm going with this. When you're doing radio, it's like one continuous song, because when you have a song and somebody starts thinking, that's a bad thing. If you're DJing at a club or a private event and you play music and there's a song that doesn't fit, then people start thinking, they start walking off the dance floor. It's a bad thing. And so with us, when we do these things, everything we do has to have a purpose and a reason, and not just let's try this sound effect. No, it needs to be the game day experience has to be top notch, because all of us can, growing up, and Kyle knows, and Bubba knows, and Matt, you were playing during the 90s and the 80s and 90s. It was a big deal for East Carolina to be on television. Now we're pretty much on every game. Not that I'm complaining about that. I'm just saying that hurts us with the gate as far as getting people to come to the games. And I have all kinds of conveniences here. And don't get me wrong, I'd much rather be at the stadium. I'm just saying we need to
You are at the stadium, Dave. Look behind
yeah,
you.
Hi. Yeah, I'm there. But we need to do everything we can, including one of the things we have to do, and not to get off on a tangent because we're running long tonight, and I don't want to get Matt divorced, is when it comes to game day experience, please, please, please improve the internet connection. The networking is horrible. I'm not trying to complain just to complain, but please, that's constructive criticism.
It's gotten better. It's not as bad as it used to be. At least if you have Verizon, it's much better than it used to be. It used to be ridiculous. You couldn't do anything.
I can at least text you guys.
Yeah, but anyway, the third down idea to me, what you should do should be unique to you. It should make sense. And right now, the "Give Me a Hell Yeah" thing is very unique to East Carolina and to Blake Harrell. So why not use the Stone Cold "Give Me a Hell Yeah"? The crowd responds "Hell yeah!" Glass breaks on third down. Stone Cold music. I'm telling you, if we did that and didn't tell the players we were going to do it the first time they did that, I don't know. We something big would happen, whether it be a sack or we might get a penalty. But I guarantee you, don't tell the players, and the first time that happens, they're going to play with that third down, their ass is going to be on fire.
Hey, I tell you one thing.
We need to get that idea out. We need to get that out.
I've met the Meador, and he said that they've actually had talked about it a little bit already, and I guess maybe some of the administration wasn't sure about the having "Hell yeah" over the intercom system at the
why are we that conservative here? Come on, let's go. Get the crowd into it. Come on, because it says I think it's a great idea. And Dave, I just want to say, if it makes you feel any better, I've been at football games this year at South Carolina and Rutgers, and to your point on the Wi-Fi, even worse.
Oh, wow.
Even worse. So I don't know what it is, but I just wanted you to know it's not totally unique to ECU.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, I did want to say that with the atmosphere that Kyle, I love wrestling, as you guys know, and Kyle does too. But that would be amazing. I'll tell you what I would like to see, and I don't know how much it would cost, but I would love to see Stone Cold come on the Videotron and can I get a ECU? Can I get a hell yeah? Or do something with Stone Cold and have that music. Oh my God!
Well, I think that's what I just said multiple times, Dave.
That you want Stone Cold to actually be on.
Yes, I said well, no. I'm just Stone Cold. Just use the voice. Stone Cold saying, "Give me a hell yeah," and then us.
Make it right.
Yeah.
And then if it gets to the point where it really grows, maybe you get Stone Cold in person.
Oh my God!
You know what I'm saying? You get them down for a little pregame. Can I get a hell yeah?
Pirate Nation. Yeah, here's
what in the world is going on?
Yeah, Wes says need to incorporate the Nature Boy Ric Flair into the video too. Woo! That's another Carolina.
Okay, am I the only one hearing?
I heard it. Yeah, I heard it.
Am I the only one hearing? Give me a hell yeah over and over again.
I've heard it a couple times.
I think Bubba found a sound effect.
Bubba
loves a good sound effect.
I didn't play anything that I had uploaded. It was
no, it is looping constantly. It must be something on my phone. Hold on, guys. Let me log out and back in.
Okay. Justin Butt says get a cameo going. Yeah, Matt, I was thinking about that earlier today about getting Stone Cold to do one for us, and we can just put that on the Videotron every time.
kind of like the one we did back last year when we played South Carolina.
Oh yeah,
basketball.
Yeah,
you remember we had Spencer Rattler do one.
Guys, I swear to God, my nephew called me in the middle of what we were talking about the Stone Cold stuff, and at some point in that period, Bubba must have played the "Give Me a Hell Yeah" by John Gilbert thing. And after I ended the call with my nephew, so I wouldn't get cut off from the podcast, Gilbert saying "Give me a hell yeah" was just looping constantly on my phone, over and over and over. So it was like I could hear you guys talk, but it was just constantly Gilbert going, "Give me a hell yeah, give me a hell yeah, give me," like over and over again.
Hey,
you guys weren't hearing it. I was the only one that.
Kyle Brian Bipe says WWE has a trademark for it.
WWE has a trademark for "Give me a hell yeah." I don't know that you can really trademark a saying, but I'm betting you if anybody could probably get away with using it. I know Vince doesn't own WWE anymore, but
yep,
for that matter, just play Blake Harrell saying "Give me a hell yeah," then go into the Stone Cold music.
Yeah, anything that would be funny. And those, do you think that Harrell yell? Do you think that'll any T-shirts will be sold on that?
Harrell, yeah. I don't like it. It's corny. It's corny. It's fine for the graphic. It was on the Jumbotron today, but that's a little too corny for my taste.
Yeah. So, guys, also, Jonathan wants to ask you, Kyle. Can you ask Kyle? Does he think the over under 55.5? Does he think the total will go over or under? Thanks.
That's a good question. If Horvath plays, I'll say over. If he doesn't, I'll say under.
That's a good point. Yeah, and I think, are you guys ready to do your predictions? I know that I'm trying to look out for Matt. I can talk about ECU football all night, but Christy, I love Christy and the kids, so I want to keep the family intact. We're all about family values here on the Sports Objective.
I appreciate that, Dave. Thank you.
I'll go first. I'm going, I think it's going to be less of this, but this is God's honest truth, guys. Today I'm walking down the hall. I said, oh God, that's right. I got to do a prediction tonight for the guys. the first thing that came to my mind, ECU 27, Navy 23. We finally get it done. It's a 4-point victory. I'll stick with that. That was my first thought.
I actually like that score. I'm gonna say we have no Horvath. I'm gonna go East Carolina 31, Navy 21. And if Horvath plays, yeah, that changes that completely. That's no Horvath. If Horvath plays, yeah, we'll just keep that score to myself.
What do you got, Matt?
Every time Kyle says the word Navy, it reminds me of his favorite line from
Rusty.
Christmas
Is
Vacation.
Rusty still in the Navy? Bubba can do that. Bubba, we gotta get Bubba to do that. He does that pretty good.
Is Bubba there? Bubba, can we hear it? Well, Bubba's coming up with that. I'm going to go, fellas. I'm going to go, like I said, I feel really good about the Pirates in this game. I'm going to say 38-27.
Wow.
ECU gets it done.
I love that.
38 points.
Right.
Wow.
And Robert Dedrick says, in overtime, the Pirates win at 35-28. Put your scores up here, folks, in the comments. So my buddy AV, it was great to see Alan Vick. He actually was at the press conference today. Guys, I did have a sidebar. Speaking of Christmas Vacation, I was going to wait to Christmas time. What do you think about Christmas Vacation 2, Christmas night on Max? Are you going to watch it? Sidebar really fast.
I didn't. That's a real thing?
Yeah. It's going to be on Max Christmas night.
Christmas night.
Yep.
Why in the blue hell would you release that on Christmas night? Are you sure that's a real thing?
Yeah, I saw
Wait,
it.
say this again, Dave. Tell me this again. I lost.
I think Dave saw some fake stuff generated by AI on Facebook, and he thinks it's real.
I'll look it up.
He's saying Christmas Vacation 2 is going to debut on HBO Max, or just Max as it's called now, the app, on Christmas Day night, which I'm thinking this is not real.
Well, I know that they're actually making
it's 20
Christmas Vacation 2. They are making the movie.
2025.
2020.
This year, it's for next year.
Okay.
I beg your pardon.
That's what they did with A Christmas Story. I think they put it on Hulu. I want to.
No, they put it on HBO Max, and it wasn't Christmas Story 2. It was A Christmas Story Christmas. A Christmas Story 2 is a horrible movie that should be burnt.
True, very true.
But a Christmas Story Christmas is pretty good, actually.
They did a good job with that, I have to say, with Ralphie.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, Shell Pile is saying 38-21, guys. Pirates, like that score. Will says 34-21, Pirates. Wes says 35-31, Pirates. B Pays, he's got ECU 28, Navy 17. How about this? Brad Williams, 42-17. I hope you're right, Brad. That would be awesome. And our buddy JR, Johnny Stats, I'm going with 38-35, the exact score as the other two victories against only Johnny Robertson can get away with that. You're the best, man. You're absolutely right. Two field goals. We win it, but with the same score, and it was in Annapolis. By the way, I have a question for you guys because of I heard this today going into work about how like with Vandy over Alabama, how they had they took the the uprights and they tore down the
goalposts and threw them in the river.
Put it in the river. My question is, do you guys think with beating Navy, would you guys? Is this a? I'm not.
If they were ranked in the top 25, yes, and not being ranked in the top 25, absolutely not.
Okay. All right.
It's an interesting comment there from John White. Can we put that up on the screen?
Yeah, he says it's fake.
John says Christmas Vacation 2 is a hoax. Unfortunately, but true. The internet trolls spun up. That's unfortunate. I was convinced, John.
Yeah, John. I saw that on Facebook, and figured out it was a hoax pretty fast. So, I guess that just shows that me and John aren't as fooled as easy as Matt and Dave. How about that?
I just love that movie. So the wishful
I
thinking.
do too. I'd love to see a sequel.
Thank you,
Particularly
John.
you bring Chevy Chase in as the elderly grandfather, and you could bring David from Roseanne, whatever his real name is, back as Rusty, and maybe
Yeah,
bring
Liz.
Julie. Oh God, yes, bring Juliette Lewis back as
Audrey.
yeah. By the way,
Mike,
Juliette Lewis, if there's just she's ugly and hot at the same time. I've never seen a girl that was ugly and hot at the same time in my life except Juliette Lewis. There's just something so appealing about her, yet at the same time, she's really not that attractive. I don't get it. But boy, would I like to do her.
Okay. How do you really feel about
oh man, that was great.
Brad says,
I totally lost my train of thought on that one, but I kind of.
That's because Matt, you see it. You see it. You can picture Juliette Lewis in certain movies, and you totally get what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, to a point, yeah. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
With Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Natural Born Killers. Yes. Yeah, that would be one. Yes. There you go. Yes.
Brad Williams says Mike Houston's offenses were a hoax. Is that too soon, Brad? Is that too soon?
Too soon.
Shell makes a great point. This is true for a fact. They are making the Goonies 2. You're right, Shell. Thank you. You're an 80s kid like me. They are making the Goonies.
Man, I've been hearing they've been making the Goonies 2 for a decade now.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, getting back to Christmas Vacation, might be hard to find Randy Quaid. I think he's off the grid. I know he's got a beard.
Permanent vacation.
Yeah, he's up in like the Canadian woods somewhere with a beard down to his ankles. I don't know if that's going to work out.
Yeah, he's actually, didn't he like go off the?
And by the way, they've already made Christmas Vacation 2. Christmas Vacation 2 came out in the early 2000s.
2003.
It was Cousin Eddie's Christmas.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. I do remember seeing that at like the video store back in the day.
Yes.
I just like kept walking because
you did the right thing. It was straight to video and it was garbage. So
that's what I figured, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't believe I just now remembered that Christmas Vacation 2 came out 20 years ago.
Christmas Vacation 2 is the equivalent to Home Alone 3. I mean, just garbage.
Yeah.
Like Body Kid 3. That was
Christmas Story 2 was garbage also. That's why I didn't want anybody to get that confused with a Christmas Story Christmas, which is actually really well done. Yeah, they did. They did. It was is it the first one? No. Is it going to win any awards? No. Does it catch the spirit of what you want? Does it hit all the high notes? Yes. And having the original cast members, yeah, it's great. It's a nice companion piece to A Christmas Story.
That's the one they should have made of years ago. They didn't. Just like all these National Lampoons movies that they make, and it goes like straight to video. Like now, I guess it would be straight to streaming. They're god awful. The one thing I do like about streaming is how they're doing a lot of these movies now to try to get their numbers up. They're putting a lot of good movies streaming really fast compared to how I used to wait. It took 5 years for, if you remember, in the 80s, it took a long time for E.T. to come out on video. If you remember that, it took 5 years.
Yeah.
Now that was the longest one I've ever waited for in my life to come out on video, and now it's like a month and it's already out on Peacock or Hulu or whatever Max. So,
Amazon Prime will put them on a month later, but then they try to ring you up for like $21 to rent the movie, which I won't do.
I'll pay for it. Renting it for that much. I'll pay for it to own it, or to have it in my collection if it's something I really want to see.
I mean, well, really, when you think about it, if a movie's been out a month and it's still in theaters, and then Amazon is offering it, how much is it going to take you to family to afford the movies? A whole lot more than $21.
Well, that's the only reason. Yeah, exactly. And another thing is when you think about, I don't have a movie theater in my town. So you lose an hour and a half, 2 hours drive, the gas.
You're down an hour and a half, 2 hours drive to Greenville?
It's 45 minutes each way. And then if you get behind any traffic, it's not quite 2 hours, but like you get behind a slow car.
It takes you 45 minutes to get to Greenville from Williamston?
From that side it's 35 minutes on this side of town, but if they're going to that side of town, it's more 45 minutes.
You go out to the movie theater out by Cracker Barrel and Texas Roadhouse, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So I gotta jump, fellas, but I have a lot of family in for Thanksgiving. But question for you guys, since we have so many people listening, Bowl Spectacular. When are we going to do our Bowl Spectacular?
Oh yeah, we got to do that coming up in a few weeks. Yeah.
Well, once the bowl games are announced,
But is that they typically announce them? We should
it'll
know
be
by
it'll
what,
be
Monday
championship
night?
week. No. It'll
Oh,
be
I'm forgetting championship week.
Yeah,
I'm
it'll be
forgetting.
after championship. Yeah, so next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend.
And by the way,
so we should do it next Sunday night to answer that question, Matt.
Perfect. Good luck to Shell Powell and his son.
Oh, Randy,
in the playoffs. Good luck, Shell, and Randy. Obviously, Randy.
Man,
good luck, man.
Come on, East Carolina. You've got a great program down in Charlotte and the Queen City. Before I forget, I want to wish Bubba, I want to wish Kyle, Matt, everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And one final thing, I want to ask you guys, what are you thankful for? I do that with my family every year at the dinner table. So just give me like one line or a couple lines. What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for, not to harp on this, I bring it up a lot because it's part of my life, but I'm thankful to be cancer free. I'm thankful for my wife. Just thankful to be alive, thankful for life in general. Thankful to have a job, thankful to have a house and food and family all on Thanksgiving. So, just all the basic stuff that you should be thankful for, but that you kind of take for granted every day.
I'm thankful for you guys. Appreciate you very much. My family, my kids. I have a great job. Obviously, I'm happy to be town commissioner. I'm very happy and thankful and grateful for everything going on locally, and happy with my kids are doing well in school. They're very healthy. So very thankful for that, and just thankful for everybody, not to be condescending, but thankful for patronizing is the right word, for everybody in Pirate Nation. Appreciate them and appreciate all that. So Matt, what about you? Then we'll get out of here.
Well, I'm thankful for my wife not filing for divorce during these long shows. So thank you to my wife. But I'll tell you what, I can't say it any.
Love you, Chrissy.
I can't say it any better than you guys. I'll tell you, I don't ask for much in life, but I would love a win versus Navy, and that's something I would be very thankful for. So I'll just leave it at that. Happy Thanksgiving to all the Pirate fans, all the listeners. We appreciate everybody chiming in, as always.
Hey, I got a Thanksgiving joke real fast. The last thing I'll say. What do you call it? What does a crippled turkey say?
I don't know.
Wobble, wobble.
All right, we'll get out of here. Thank you guys very much. Happy Thanksgiving. We're talking Pirate football. Hopefully we can be talking about a Pirate victory Sunday night on our playback. And good luck to the Pirates football and basketball on Friday. And enjoy your shopping Black Friday. Then go see the games. We'll get out of here. And as always, go Pirates.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.